Here's where this is where the stuff is going to stick, I think, out of this debate. And that is Hillary's response on Wall Street. Do we have her response in here in this section? Is that what this is? Yeah. Okay. And this is going back and forth. Now, understand this is really important for you to understand in terms of what happened with financial reform after 2008. There was a big argument within financial reformers, between the Barney Franks and a lot of people from the Occupy Financial Reform Working Group, which was full of very, very knowledgeable people who offered actually the Financial Reform Commission one of the most detailed briefs, essentially, that they got. And that is, do you keep financial reform within the statutory structure that we have and allow regulatory agencies to work out the intricacies of how to keep our banking system from having the type of contagion that it had in 2008? Or do you take, instead of using a surgical knife, do you take a meat cleaver and basically say, we're going to divide the banks up from commercial entities and investment entities like it was prior to the 1999 repeal, essentially, of Glass-Steagall, so that we don't have to get involved in the intricacies of what the investment houses are doing or the commercial houses are doing. We don't have to involve ourselves in the intricacies because we've just cleaved it. And that debate still rages. So when Hillary Clinton says Glass-Steagall doesn't go far enough, what she's saying is, I still want to make sure that there is room for massaging to take place on any regulations we pass, any small bore legislation we pass. Because we've seen this time and time again, right? With Dodd-Frank, is that the legislation itself may sound good on paper, but what happens is once it gets to the regulatory bodies, the SEC, et cetera, you've got corporate lawyers who come in and destroy the thing, or you get bad courts that basically destroy the thing because you don't have a broad, essentially structural change. So here is that exchange with Bernie and Hillary, and here's where Bernie has also got to try and make this point, and he doesn't. Number 6.
Senator Sanders, you've said that the donations to Secretary Clinton are compromising. So what do you think of her answer?
Not good enough. Here's the story. I mean, let's not be naive about it. Why over her political career has Wall Street been the major campaign contributor to Hillary Clinton? Now, maybe they're dumb and they don't know what they're going to get, but I don't think so. Here is the major issue when we talk about Wall Street. It ain't complicated. You got 6 financial institutions today that have assets of 56%, equivalent to 56% of the GDP in America. They issue 2/3 of the credit cards and 1/3 of the mortgages. If Teddy Roosevelt, a good Republican, were alive today, you know what he'd say? Break them up. Reestablish Glass-Steagall. And Teddy Roosevelt is right. That is the issue. Now, I am the only candidate up here that doesn't have a super PAC. I'm not asking Wall Street or the billionaires for money. I will break up these banks, support community banks and credit unions. That's the future of banking in America.
Quick follow.
Okay, so there you have Bernie make his case. He conflates it again with electoral politics. I mean, he's got to keep this separate, I think, by talking about the banks and then super PACs in the same answer. You're just not getting the message clear enough to people. You're just not getting it clear enough to people. You got to keep talking about there are people who lost their homes. There are people who lost their jobs because of 2008. You've got to continue to hammer that. Then we move to the part, and this is the part of the debate where Hillary Clinton, if there was anything that's going to come out of this Democratic debate that Bernie Sanders can build on, it was Hillary Clinton's answer to why she gets so many donations from Wall Street. And her answer is bizarre. I understand what she was trying to go for here, but it's bizarre. And it shows why she has such a liability here. And Bernie Sanders has to continue to work on this. But here is Hillary Clinton getting the question from John Dickerson after Bernie has talked about breaking up Glass-Steagall and talked about how Hillary Clinton gets so much donations from Wall Street. Here's that clip now.
But because Secretary Clinton, you'll get a chance to respond. You said they know what they're going to get.
Look,
what are they going to get?
I have never heard a candidate, never, who has received huge amounts of money from oil, from coal, from Wall Street, from the military-industrial complex. Not one candidate said, oh, these campaign contributions will not influence me. I'm going to be independent. Well, why do they make millions of dollars of campaign contributions? They expect to get something. Everybody knows that. Once again, I am running a campaign differently than any other candidate. We are relying on small campaign donors, 750,000 of them, $30 a piece. That's who I'm indebted to.
Well, John, wait a minute.
Personal privilege.
He has basically used his answer to impugn my integrity. Let's be frank here. Oh, wait a minute, Senator. You know, not only do I have hundreds of thousands of donors, most of them small, and I'm very proud that for the first time, a majority of my donors are women, 60%. I represented New York, and I represented New York on 9/11. When we were attacked, where were we attacked? We were attacked in downtown Manhattan, where Wall Street is. I did spend a whole lot of time and effort helping them rebuild. That was good for New York, it was good for the economy, and it was a way to rebuke the terrorists who had attacked our country. So, you know, it's fine for you to say what you're going to say, but I look very carefully at your proposal. Reinstating Glass-Steagall is a part of what very well could help, but it is nowhere near enough. My proposal is tougher, more effective, and more comprehensive, because I go after all of Wall Street, not just the big banks.
John, please.
Okay, so, all right, so here we have in that clip Hillary Clinton responding to the idea that she gets a lot of money from her banks. In fact, it turns out that even prior to 9/11, when she was running for Senate in New York, the banks were some of the biggest donors. Now, one could argue they are based in New York State, and so that's what they're going to do. But here's what she was doing with that answer, which was a really bad answer. But the problem is she has no answer for this, and so she only has a bad answer for it. Now, we talked about the Glass-Steagall stuff earlier when Bernie called for the breaking up the banks. She doesn't call for the breaking up of the banks because there's a lot more room to fudge with legislation and with regulation if you don't just take a meat cleaver to it. But here's why she said, in response to you get all your money from the banks, here's why she said, I have a huge percentage of my money comes from women, and I was senator on 9/11. The reason why she has to say that is because she does get a tremendous amount of her money from the banks, and she has a huge, close relationship with them.